welcome everyone to Once Upon a Storybook. My name is Cynthia with Cynthia's Joyful Creations, and we are going to continue to read another angel story from the book In the Arms of Angels. And today's story is called Kelly's Angels. Sometimes it seemed as if that April day in 1999 had happened only yesterday. Not 20 months ago, Dee Fleming mused as she sat now in her car, waiting for her husband in front of Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado. She vividly recalled her husband's phone call, which had propelled her from her office to search for her 16-year-old daughter at this very spot. Dawn had kept vigil at home, waiting for a phone call that would end their terror, while Dee eventually wound up at a nearby grade school with other frantic parents, searching the shocked faces of the students who had fled there. Where was Kelly? Was she, mercifully, out of harm's way, perhaps hiding in a secure place, or running with a group of friends to nearby shelter? Would this unbelievable nightmare ever end? The news for the Fleming family would be almost incomprehensible. One teacher and 12 students, including our Kelly, did not come out, Dee says. Most were killed in the school library, crouching under tables, and their bodies remained there for a day and a half while investigators tried to make sense of the tragedy. The entire world seemed to watch, stunned, as the unfathomable facts emerged. 2 student gunmen had succumbed to evil, massacring 13 people and injuring many more. Kelly had started her freshman year at Columbine in 1997, shortly after the Flemings moved from Phoenix to Littleton. She had always been shy, and making friends was hard for her at first, but her classmates were soon drawn to her sense of humor, her quiet nature, and her loyalty. When Kelly made a friend, her mom says, it was a friend forever. Kelly was such a gentle little soul, cheerful and kind. For her to have died amid such hatred and violence is beyond belief. The Flemings and their older daughter, Erin, grieved in private and took part in the public commemorations and ceremonies. Neighbors and family members wrapped them in consolation and love. Still, life would never be the same. At one point, after examination of the crime scene was complete, the police allowed families to visit the library. Dee needed to say a prayer there and to touch the ground where her daughter's body had lain. Doing this did give me some grief, Dee says, but the feeling is that place was oppressive. Dee hurried out of the room. God, she asked from the depths of her suffering, will it always be like this? Dee did find one resource that helped stem the pain. From the time she was tiny, Kelly and I had shared a special interest in angels. Kelly had learned to say the guardian angel prayer from a little card her grandmother gave her when she was 4. Excuse me. More recently, the two had faithfully watched Touched by an Angel on television each week. Dee had begun a collection. After Kelly's death, friends and complete strangers sent angel figurines, pictures, and carvings along with condolences. Everywhere she looked, on shelves and tabletops or out in the garden, Dee could see them, reminders of the hope she tried to keep alive. When I thought of Kelly in that place and how scared she must have been, I wanted so much to believe that an angel was with her there in the library, shielding her from fear and pain on that terrible day. Christmas 1999 passed in a blur, and the Flemings were unable to rejoice, as were many in Littleton. In the fall of 2000, construction began on the new Hope, Healing of People Everywhere Columbine Memorial Library. Originally, the school district had planned to refurbish the existing library, but to the parents of Columbine students, such a plan was inconceivable. They and other community members felt that no children should ever be expected to study in that room again. Moreover, they vowed to raise the money needed to remove all traces of the existing library. The school district bowed to the wishes of the community and began building a new library. The old one, which had been above the cafeteria, would be completely demolished and its floor removed. The space would then be used for a beautiful 2-story atrium with a mural of trees on the ceiling. Fundraising stretched beyond the Littleton area and across the nation, spearheaded by Hope. Dee knew that many positive things had come out of this catastrophe, but although she visited the construction site with other families and felt the new life of the school being affirmed, the outer facade of the old library still menaced her. How could she ever heal, even partially, if this memory continued to oppress her? As December 2000 approached, Dee decided to make her Christmas cards. I bought an angel stamp and some markers at a craft store. During my lunch breaks and at night, I stamped and colored the angel over and over again on my Christmas cards. The angel on the stamp was beautiful with a halo, a long gown, and outstretched arms. In some strange way, the angel brought comfort to Dee and seemed to be helping her through the sadness of this second Christmas without Kelly. Then one afternoon, just a week before Christmas, as Dee and Kelly's father, Don, drove home after running errands, Don decided to stop at the school and check the construction progress. "I'll stay in the car," Dee told him. And now here she was. She gazed up at the building. She was too close to the area that upset her. It looked the same on the outside as it always had, metal and glass. But Dee remembered the old library space, and sudden tears filled her eyes. "God," she prayed, "I need to know that Kelly's all right, that she's happy and at peace. Please tell me." Suddenly she saw it, a white glowing figure moving slowly across the windows of the old library. Not a reflection or a cloud. I knew instantly that I was looking at an angel. She was elegant, with her flowing gown and halo, and so clear to me. Awestruck, Dee drank in the scene while an overwhelming peace settled around her. In that moment she knew that her daughter was fine. Angels were with Kelly now, and they always had been. The burden Dee had carried for so long was lifting too. Somehow she understood that the old library space, the site of previous malevolence, had been cleansed and healed by the angel's presence, and there was nothing left there for her to fear. She knew that hard times were still ahead, but God had touched her with gentle hands, sending a glimpse of paradise to help her through. Suddenly, Dee realized that the angel was fading. She fumbled for her camera, opened the car window, and snapped 2 photos before the figure disintegrated. When Dawn returned, Dee found herself unable to mention the incident, but she played it over and over in her mind. In a few days, Dee picked up the photographs. With pounding heart, she flipped through them for the 2 angel snaps. Had they turned out? Yes, there they were. One, an unmistakable image, the second, a bit mistier as it had disintegrated. And wait! Dee peered at the first photograph again. Why, this angel was familiar. It was the figure she had stamped innumerable times on her Christmas cards. The same halo, the gown, the flowing hair, and outstretched hands. Seeing an angel had been a gift enough, but the same angel she had stamped and colored for the past 3 weeks? Dee's heart overflowed. Her healing had begun. The angel has become a gift to many, Dee says today. I love to share her. People see the figure in the photograph and say, "Oh my," or smile or cry. She brings hope and healing and builds faith. No parent ever recovers completely from the loss of a child, but as Dee has experienced, healing can come with time, with care, and with angels. Thank you for joining me for this special story today as we read about Kelly's angel. And I look forward to meeting with you again next Tuesday and reading yet another angel story. Until then, be joyful, and I'll see you next week. Bye.